I'm going to preview the Baylor at number 17 SMU football game, which will literally be played at 11 a.m. Central Time on the CW. As we all know, Baylor is 0-1 with a 38-24 loss to Auburn in McLean Stadium, but that game was closer than the scoreboard indicated. Well, SMU is 1-0 with the win over East Texas A&M, but they didn't look impressive in that 42-13 win. And I'm going to just dive into that right now. I mean, SMU gave up 244 yards passing overall to East Texas A&M, which we all remember the former name of that is Texas A&M Commerce. They did give up 107 yards rushing, and in addition, SMU didn't run the ball that great, only 140 yards rushing on 33 attempts. Yes, they got 2 touchdowns out of it, but still. And they did turn the ball over 3 times in that game, including a pick from Kevin Jennings and 2 fumbles. And East Texas A&M did win the time possession, actually. 38 minutes, 59 seconds to 21 minutes, 1 second. So I just wanted to go over that briefly here. So what are some things to keep an eye on for SMU? Like the average offensive line weight is 307.25 pounds, like for 20 guys. It's an air raid offense. So a very similar style of offense compared to Auburn. We all know like the story of Sawyer Robertson. He was not necessarily the starter. Actually, the same thing goes for Kevin Jennings at SMU. And then they became a college football playoff team. They only had like 1 regular season loss to BYU, and they also lost in the ACC title game last year. But they made it in over Alabama because they only had 2 losses. Alabama had 3 losses, and 2 of those were to 6-6 teams. So I'm just saying. So Kevin Jennings, number 7, 6 foot, 189 pound quarterback. That is a junior. Y'all can check out the outlook on them in the description below. And they don't return a lot of guys with production from last year at running back, though they have a transfer from UCLA. And that's TJ Harden, number 27, 6 foot 2 inch, 220 pound running back. That's a senior. There's Derek McFall, number 0, 5 foot 11 inch, 180 pound running back. That's a freshman. There's like Chris Johnson Jr., number 24, 6 foot, 180 pound running back. That's a sophomore. And might as well just leave it at that, to be honest. Now, at wide receiver, they don't have as quantity in terms of quality wide receivers returning. Just to let you know. The lean guy, technically, that's coming in is Yamir Knight, number 8, 5 foot 8 inch, 180 pound wide receiver. That's a junior. Now, Jordan Hudson is one of the best receivers that's coming back for SMU, but he is day-to-day with a shoulder injury that he suffered on the first drive of the game. So there's a possibility that he does not play. He's number 2, 6 foot 1 inch, 192 pound wide receiver. That's a senior. There's obviously 2 good tight ends for SMU, and that's Matthew Hibner, number 88, 6 foot 5 inch, 254 pound tight end. That's a senior. And then same thing goes for RJ Maryland, number 82, 6 foot 4 inch, 233 pound tight end. That's a senior as well. In addition, they have like some other guy, a few other guys I want to just go ahead and mention. Romello Brentson, number 3, 6 foot 2 inch, 186 pound wide receiver. That's a senior. There's Dylan Goffney, number 18, 6 foot, 210 pound wide receiver. That is a senior. And that's pretty much all the guys you need to know. Now, defensively, they run a 4-2-5. Defensive line weight on average for 19 guys is 270.5 pounds. Like defensive end, just like 10 guys, 245.9. And defensive tackle, 9 guys and 297.9 pounds. They did lose a lot in the front seven from last year to this year in terms of production, like snaps, tackles for loss, interceptions, you name it, they lost it. When you go back and look at the stats and everything in this. They do bring back the best safety. Isaiah Nwokobia, Nwokobia. Number 12, 6'1", 202-pound safety. That's a senior. There's Zakai Barker, Zakye. Apologize if I'm butchering it. Number 33 is 5'10", 225-pound linebacker. That is a junior. He's from East Carolina, and that kind of included where they're from in all this. There's Ahmad Moses, number 3, 5'10", 200-pound safety. That's a senior. Now, this next guy I'm going to mention is the best linebacker that's returning, and he's a starter, but he got hurt on a defensive touchdown. That's Alexander Kilgore. Number 54, 6'1", 230-pound linebacker. That is a senior. He had an ankle injury, so he's day-to-day as well. So just to let you all know. There's Akil Washington, AAKIL, number 10, 6'2", 234-pound linebacker. That's a senior from South Alabama. There's Isaiah Smith, number 1, 6'4", 244-pound defensive end. That's a senior. There's Cameron Robertson, number 9, 6 foot, 235-pound linebacker. That's a senior. There's Deuce Harmon, number 7, 5'10", 191-pound CB. That as in cornerback. That's a senior. There's Jeffrey Maba, M''BA, number 6, 6'6", 302-pound defensive tackle. That's a senior from Purdue. There's Terry Webb, number 4, 6'3", 314-pound defensive tackle. That is a senior from Texas State. There's Jalen Davis Robinson, number 13, 6'1", 109-pound CB, as in cornerback. That's a junior. There's Jonathan Jefferson, number 94, 6'3", 315-pound defensive tackle. That is a senior. And really, I'm going to just go over like Brandon Zano, number 29, 6'1", 235-pound linebacker. That's a junior. There's actually a Baylor guy and Trey Wilson, number 58, 6'3", 275-pound defensive end. That's a junior. They actually have another guy from Purdue, and that's Damari Lewis, Damarihe. There's Ja'Kai Lang from Missouri, number 52, 6'3", 254-pound defensive end. That's a sophomore. There's Billy Walton Jr. the third, number 32, 6'1", 215-pound defensive end. That's a sophomore. And there's like a guy from Syracuse and Marcellus Barnes Jr., number 8, 6'1", 108 pounds, cornerback. That's a freshman. Everybody else is like 10 tackles or less, by the way. So no need to go over that. And then their starting punter is gone, while their kicker from last year, Colin Rogers, number 41, 6'4", 206-pound kicker that as a senior, is back for another year of eligibility. So it's obvious that this is a bigger game for Baylor than SMU, and I know it's a big game for SMU because, look, they want to protect home field and start 2-0, but Baylor wants to avoid an 0-2 start on the season. That's just the truth. And as of right now, SMU is favored only by 3 points. Even though Baylor lost by 14, they're only at a 3-point underdog. That's not that big in this type of game here. And Obviously, whatever you did wrong last game, you got to correct for this game. And I'm going to just make mention up front that Baylor might be without Jackie Marshall. He's day-to-day with the high ankle sprain. There is a possibility that he does not play. But the good news is Carl Williams, who missed last game, is back to practice. Whether or not he plays in the game is TBD. Now, special teams wise, you got to be better than last week. No kickoff returns for touchdowns. No punt returns for touchdowns. No bad punts. You got to make every field goal. You got to make every extra point. Have good snaps. Kick the ball to the end zone every time on kickoffs. Because that's the last thing you want to do is to give up another special teams touchdown. Now, defensively, they're probably going to, Miranda did say that they're going to try to use a quarterback spy in this game to help the running ability from Kevin Jennings, but he's not like the same runner as Jackson Arnold as last week, but he can run a little bit, and he has not had a lot of games above 50 yards rushing, so don't let that happen here. He just likes to extend plays and then throw it. But the thing about it is, you got to contain him in the pocket and force him into mistakes. You got to stop the run better. The pass defense was not even tested last week. Now, I am curious about the Jordan Hudson thing from SMU, because if he does not play, that does leave a potential freshman to start in his place, and that's Jalen Cooper. Number 9, 6'2", 180-pound wide receiver that's a freshman. So that's a real thing, because if they were down one of the key guys, that would really hurt them big time in this type of game. Of course, across the board, you got to play a cleaner game as well, like limit the penalties, and if they commit penalties, it's on them. And SMU did commit a lot of penalties last game. Let's be honest. To be exact, they committed, let me look here. Under team stats. Eight penalties for 84 yards. And I get there might be some questionable officiating in the game. And hopefully it's not an all SEC crew. But now, for this type of game, I wouldn't mind it. But the officiating needs to be better. Not to complain about the officiating. That's not the only reason why Baylor lost the game. Because they couldn't stop the run and they couldn't run the ball. But you got to admit, some of those calls were questionable. You got to admit that. And you got to be more mentally tougher team. You got to take away the home crowd in this game while getting your fans involved. And this is like next to nothing in terms of travel for Baylor and Baylor fans in general, because most of them and the alums are from Dallas, Texas. Or that's more popular areas for Baylor alums and Baylor fans in general. So yeah. Obviously, you don't want to have like personal foul targeting because you're out for the game and everything like that. You got to have a pass rush in this game on defense while having some contain and cause havoc, cause negative plays, cause turnovers. Now, offensively, you can't, and you got to be good in the red zone defense and third down defense, a lot better than last week, I'll tell you that. Even fourth down defense. Now, offensively, you got to be better, a little bit better on fourth down, but hopefully you don't have to do that as much in this game compared to the last one. Just being honest. You got to be better on third down defense, and you got to be better in the red zone. Because as you could tell, Baylor was able to move the ball on Auburn. I mean, over 400 yards passing. So I don't know if SMU is going to really stop down the pass as much as Auburn did last week, because this is probably the best offense they might play all year until they play somebody later on down the line from the ACC. I know they're going to get to play TCU, I know, but still. The run game needs to be better in this type of game here for Baylor on offense. You don't want to just solely throw the ball only and take what the defense gives you. The offensive line needs to step up a lot better than they did last week in terms of like the sacks and the tackles for loss. Yeah, and the same thing goes for tight ends and wide receivers on blocking at times as well. So I'm just saying, and obviously you could just list like 6 guys that are dangerous for Baylor in terms of pass catching already. I mean, you look at the transfers. Kobe Prentice from Alabama. Cole Wilson from Texas State. He exploded. Lewis Brown IV. I know he didn't have a great game, but still. There's obviously Michael Trigg, Josh Cameron, and Ashton Hawkins. So that's 6 dangerous guys for SMU to try to cover. And it's not including some guys behind them in all this. So, yeah, I don't know how in the world they're going to stop them here, but you got to take care of the ball, which you did that last game, so bring it to this game. And I know there were some throws that were really close to being picked. So you got to take what the defense gives you and you got to catch every ball, make contested catches, and of course on defense you got to high point the ball and try to get some picks, because he might give you some opportunities. And I know he threw over 260 yards passing last game. And another thing across the board, you got to make adjustments on the fly, both offensively and defensively. Not just from first half to second half, but during the first quarter, second quarter, third quarter, and fourth quarter. And I would say you got to come out with a sense of urgency, because the last thing you want to do is start 0-2. So there's nothing more I need to go over here other than give SMU some havoc on offense and defense and frustrate them a lot. And I get they were a college football playoff team last year, but they're not. I don't think they're going to be as good because, 1, the schedule's tougher for them, and 2, they lost some guys up front. And the offensive line was not even as good last game, so you got to get some sacks, get some pressure, and take that quarterback down. And like I said, for the injuries for SMU, we'll have to wait and see whether or not they're going to even really play, because those are big injuries. Big names to be injured for SMU in game number 1 in the first quarter. Now, obviously, same thing goes for Jackie Marshall. After 8 snaps, we'll see about him. And somebody needs to step up in terms of like Jackie Marshall on the defensive line in this type of game in case he does not play. So, anyways, if you like this content, hit the like, subscribe button. See you guys later on the road to 800 subscribers. Course ultimate goal is 1,000 more. So, make money to this course like video. Comment video really helps YouTube algorithm. Some more people see it. Sharing the video does help as well. Some more people could watch it. If you're watching and not subscribe, hit subscribe button, free notification bell as well. And if you have a lead, got to protect it and try to extend it. And if you're down, hopefully you're not in the same situation as like last game or even in the bowl game against LSU, that you're trailing and try to play catch-up mode. And same thing goes for like the BYU home game last year in McLean Stadium. Don't be in that situation to begin with. You got to establish the run to help Sawyer out. I know Sawyer could do it because of the stats, but to make it easier on him, you got to have a run game. Whether it's with Bryson Washington or K9 or even Michael Turner or Joseph Dodds in this type of game. Maybe Sawyer runs a little bit, but we'll see.